There are people that don't want to get into politics because of the nature of politics right now.
Yeah.
But if the setting would allow people, there's a lot of people that want to get into politics for the right reasons, not because they want access to economic opportunities, but for the sole purpose of making change. And that is why you see why youth decide to stick within the NPO sector. I feel like those that have started NPOs, if you were to put them in, for example, the Department of Social Development, if you were to put people that run NPOs there, the Department of Social Development would be lit. I mean, I may be wrong, but I also think like the old people are afraid of putting us into positions because they know that we will turn on them like a pit bull, because at the end of the day, they're also doing things that are very wrong, and the young people see it, and they're afraid that once we are in those positions, they will have to, pay the price because of what they have done. But I still believe, like, you're completely right, like we need to take the positions, we need to force ourselves in there. As much as there's going to be a lot of pushback, we still need to push on. Otherwise, it's just going to be a mess,
It's going to take too long, and sometimes when a problem persists for too long, it gets worse and worse and worse, and then it becomes even more difficult to reverse the cycle and to make right.
You just need to decide who you are. Do you want a job or do you want to work,
Yeah, but the people that want to work aren't being given a shot.
That's what
you have to create your own shots, and you're just like, but...
And it has to be outside of the political space. African politics as a whole, it's sad, the fact that you need connections, and hey man, Germany showed me things. I was like, dude, like I even remember on the news, even the news they mentioned in Singapore, right? In Singapore, they use robots now.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no work labor force, high wages, and it's just cheaper to use a robot.
Is this for transportation or like in general, other services, like restaurants, waitresses are not there?
Like, for example, smoking in non-designated areas. There's robots that just go around Singapore and they spot people. The people on the news were like, if these robots were here in South Africa, the paddles would be destroyed.
They'd be destroyed.
So the culture, the whole political game, it affects the culture of the country.
I mean, even take it down to bicycles. The thing about having free bicycles that just park on the street.
And that's what I want.
You would not have that in South Africa. You're just like,
dude, you look at these things, you're like, it's sick.
You can just park your bicycle anywhere, and then anyone can just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bro, like in Germany, you see a lot of things, man, and you'll see it in the videos that I give you. Yeah. But you see that businesses, startups actually are comfortable with leaving their inventory on the road for a customer because there's trust. Yeah. They know that if I leave a scooter here, all they need to do is get an app. They scan it with the barcode, and they're ready to go. Here, you can't even leave like a cell phone on the floor. You can't even leave copper, like a strip of copper.
Can't even stand outside. Like while I was waiting for you outside the Gau train, like I'm right here at the exit of the Gau train. There's two guards standing right there, and I stepped out just like 1.5 meters, a bit more out, with my cell phone to try and take pictures and to show you where. And I couldn't even do that. The guard told me like, no, if you're gonna use a cell phone, do it from within, inside, because it's gonna be safer. Otherwise, they're just gonna take your phone. And just like, but really?
Hey, like there's a huge triple, like domino effect, because if the political space is right, it trickles down to the economics. If the economics is right, it trickles down to the social side. So we have to ensure, that's why like the political space is important. We need the right people there, because then people start feeling safer. People won't feel the need, police officers, for example, won't feel the need to take bribes because they're getting paid a good salary, they have excellent benefits. So that's why...
And they see the value of their job and what they're doing, so they don't want to ruin that for the next person.
Exactly, because in Germany, if you bribe a police officer, bro, they'll report you, they'll be glad to report you, because they'll get a bonus for reporting, you know what I'm saying? Here, it's crazy, man, it's crazy, and I feel like sometimes controversy is just needed, because at the end of the day, some of us, we have nothing to lose. We're already broke, we're already unemployed. We might as well just like put it out there for someone to consume.
I remember someone else did an interview in Dubai. They were interviewing the people in Dubai, and they were asking them, how come you guys have all this opulence here when it was just a desert? You guys had nothing. And the guy was like, yeah, well, it is a strange and funny thing, because you're from Africa. This was an African man, I think it was Nigeria or Ghana. and you guys have so much land, you have so much resources and minerals. But what we did, as small as we are, we got rid of corruption from the ground up. Like that's the one thing that they targeted was corruption, even from school level, policemen, and then into the political spaces. And from that, even just dropping litter, like just a piece of rubbish on the side of the road is just not done. Because that's how much they respect the land that they have and the opportunities and the resources that they've been able to build up from scratch, from a desert. Whereas we have so much, we don't even know how to manage it, and we don't know how to gain control of it from those that have taken it away from us.
Yeah, when I was there were startups, and then when I'm here, I was like, yo, but they've been had this. Like a person would come with, like if you can come with an idea to me, and I'm like, yo, it's amazing. But in Europe, they did that 10 years ago. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, like if you expose people more that side, so when they come back, it's like, oh, but there's something like this. And then it's a matter of, why don't we just get that company that did it 10 years ago? Because it's done.
To come, there's so much knowledge.
Yeah, they've made the mistakes. Just bring them in and have them, in these certain space. And that's where government also comes in, because government must go out there and see what's okay. When you speak fourth industrial revolution, this is what's out there. What is South Africa lacking in? Let's bring people in, spend 2-3 years. Young people, because it's young people that are driving these things. Let's hire someone from Liechtenstein, for example, or hire someone from France who's working for blah blah boss to come work for us and see what we're lacking in. But the old people just don't see it.
And also send some of your own people out there intentionally, and give them an offering that will entice them to come back with everything that they've learned, rather than people going overseas
and being like, yo,
and then they stay they stay there.
That's why I said, like with the Department of Social Development, the fact that I went to Germany was through a private institute. It was the Department of Social. I don't even think they know that there's actually organizations that are sending people over. I was European.
It was part of the municipality, and then going to Cape Town, all of that.
It's all private. I don't even think, because one of the issues, and it's a major issue, is that the South African government is not sponsoring anything to send people over.
That is the strangest thing.
They don't even know that.
That is the strangest thing. Because, it tells you that these people from their private companies, they realized what is it say? Your dad calls it a human capital, that they can actually harvest talent from South Africa, teach them our language, teach them our ways of life, and then bring them over, and their brain capacity can actually enrich our country. And they can go back, but when you go back to your own country in South Africa, you are still an ally, you are still a friend that they can always tap in and be like, hey, Bliss, can you come back and what have you been able to do? Let's come in and visit you. But it's all been planned like 10 years ago.
Exactly. Like all of us, that's what I was saying with the other volunteers. We're like, okay, because I was saying, why would people actually pay for our flights to come here? Like, it's just still weird for me.
When it's like, free, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Exactly.
There's no such thing as a free lunch in business.
Exactly. There's something up, because they paid for our lessons, they paid for our visas, they paid for where we stayed for a whole year. Because
it would be like, no, we have a criteria. You have to know the language first. You have to have studied this first. And like, you don't even have to do that. We'll do that for you. We'll give that to you.
Give that to you. It's like, what is going on?
There's going to be a return on investment at some point.
Exactly. And I'm still like, and that is why I also put huge emphasis in the Department of Social Development. There is so much that could be done. Above the Department of Social Development could go and be like, okay, how many German exchange organizations are there in South Africa? Okay, then there's a database. Okay, where do they send these people to? Can we have a list of the beneficiaries so that when they come back, we can put them in the Department of Social Development and see what skills they can put in there? But people just don't see it that way, because old people don't even know. Like when I asked like SageNet, how many organizations are doing this? They're like, there's over 300 in South Africa that are sending South Africans to Germany.
Wow.
You go to the Goethe Institute, there's people, German companies are paying Goethe to teach South African people the German language, to send them across. Does the Department of Social Development even know that? Do they see the opportunity there on its own? If we can see a partnership between Department of Social Development and the Goethe Institute alone, or the Department of Social Development and the Alliance Frances, that partnership on its own would just be a game changer, you know?
Yeah.
But it takes a younger person to spot that opportunity, because we're not out here trying to, first of all, solidify our positions, because there's people coming at you in different directions. You're just out there to see what's okay. Because at the end of the day, when you leave, it's like, okay, this person has done so much. It's a legacy thing.
Yeah.
During this person's term there,
Yeah.
this person did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he decided to leave because it's done. Like, his job is done. Now the next person can come and take over there. But it's not like that. And I feel like the longer we leave it, because these old people are gonna die in like the next 10, 15 years. There's a lot
it's
of
gonna be
damage
hard
that
to like now call everyone back, whoever is established overseas.
Exactly.
Like as you mentioned, Alliance Française, I was exposed to the French. You know, the French language since high school and university, and then I got exposed to the international company as well. So I've seen them do a lot of things. Like the French have always been interested in Africa and African culture. You have your francophone and your francophile. So they're always constantly doing exchanges. But I did notice locally, like local municipality, while I was working in Durban, was that there was a bit of that xenophobic atmosphere around the whole idea of like, what is the intention? And it's just like, you shouldn't even be worried about that. You should be like, what are the opportunities? How can we also as much as the French are benefiting from these relationships that they're building in South Africa, how can we benefit as well? Let's be more open instead of being closed off out of fear of colonization or modern post-colonization, but rather look at the opportunities and be smart about it.
Yeah.
And if you're not smart about it, as you say, get the people who are smart about it.
Is this recording?
Yes, it is.
Oh, perfect. You know, because it's a thing, man. It is a serious thing, because that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I have no political ambitions, but I know there's someone there who's way better than me, who sees 10,000 years more than me. I mean, I probably only see 2, you know?
And that's the thing, with your 2-year vision capacity, someone in leadership needs to trust you enough to run with it. And when you get to those 2 years, you'll have other ideas and more ideas. Okay, how can we bring this back? What else can we do? So it's just about having that trust. You know, just let the rope go and like trust them to like, they'll figure it out. Like you'll just be there to support. That's the type of leadership that we need.
And there's also many advantages if they were to see which South Africans know European or foreign languages and have them close to government as much as possible. Because, for example, with me, a government institution would be like, no, listen, we're trying to facilitate a partnership between company X or organization X and organization X in Y in Germany. We need you to translate. We need you to, since you know the culture, educate us so that we know when it comes to negotiations what to look out for. Because there's many of us that are bilingual, that are multilingual, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, but is government really exploiting that? Taking a chance at these young people, because they're at a disadvantage. They did not learn the language, not all of them. You know, some know here and there, but the young ones that actually went overseas, they need to entice them to come back, because we can take advantage of their soft skills. You know, we are able to, when we go to the World Economic Forum, we are able to bring those people on so that we know what's okay. No, this person is trying to cross us, you know. And the reason why you identify is because, first of all, someone knows the language. They know what's okay. No, when this person says this is their phrase. They know what's okay. So we need more young people to be in the government space, or the public sector. But the public sector needs to invite us and to make it more enjoyable for us to be there. Because the reality is, many people like me, we don't want to be in the political space because of what's going on, especially when it comes to things like political killings. Like, it's not something we enjoy. Like, if we think of politics, we think, oh no, if I join the ANC, if I join whoever, you know, I'm gonna die because now I'm a threat to so and so. That's why people are like, okay, go out of the country, find employment somewhere else, out of that space. But the truth of the matter is, we need certain people in politics, but politics needs to be an environment where we're comfortable, you know. And that's all up to the OGs to ensure that they invite us. It's more inviting for young people to come in, because these discussions need to be had, and there's a lot of us, man. Like in that organization alone at SafeNet, there's like 300 people, black people that speak German fluently, and it's like, yo, dude, I've been sleeping. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm like, and these people, unfortunately, because they get their B1s or they get their B2s, they leave and they have no inspiration to come back. They're just not inspired. They're just like, nah, it's not my space. You know, I've grown out of it. I've leveled up. This is just a matter of like asking the government, like, what are you doing to ensure that they come back? Make it easy for them to come back. Make them want to come back, because some of them don't want to leave, but they have to. They just have to, because the opportunities are not there, and it's quite heartbreaking, because there's a lot, man. There's a lot of young people doing amazing things out there, but they leave. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Oh. Hallo liebe Leute, ich heiße Bliss, ich bin 24 Jahre alt, ich wohne hier in Südafrika, ich komme aus Durban aber, und ja, es ist Youth Institute. Wir sind gleich da, wir mal go that side und dann rechts abbiegen und dann wir sind da. Youth Institute Johannesburg is about to go down. This is where I'm doing my internship. This is where I'm also learning the German language, and this is where I will continue my German experience. Ich mag das gerne, das Sprache, glaube ich. Ich mag die Sprache so gern. Ich habe ganz viel gelernt. Ich habe ganz viele gemacht in Deutschland und hier in Südafrika. Und ja, ich habe so viele Spaßsachen zu machen. Und ja, Mann, ich bin nicht so gut in Deutsch. Ich kann nicht so gut sprechen, aber bald ich Deutsch sprechen kann. Meine Grammatik ist ein bisschen schlecht, aber das ist egal. Ich probiere mal. You know, Deutsch ist eine schwierige Sprache und ja, aber das okay ist. And you don't have to know it fluently in the beginning. It's part of your journey, but learn another language. Try, probier mal, versuch mal, was du Sprache lernen willst. You know, this is really up to you, and it's not an easy journey. Trust me, das ist ganz schwierig, aber du kannst sehen, what opportunities are there for you. Und ja, come on, man. Ich spreche Deutsch. Ich kann Deutsch sprechen. Man, they guess the lead. Watch the company you keep. Look at the youth now. You know, and you can even take it back to like your Mark Shuttleworths. You know, he left. He left. He's a South African. Even Elon Musk, he's South African.
He was born South African, yep.
Born South African, but he left.
He doesn't even identify himself as a South African. When people try to claim him,
exactly.
It's just like, no.
And then you understand why, you know. But, and there's this, especially black people, I mean now, because it's the whole BEE thing, like there's a lot of black people, fam. There's a lot of black people that if you were to put them in positions, they would. Even me as a South African, I'd be proud, be like, yo, dude,
that's you. You know, that's us.
That's us, man. And there's a lot, and I feel like that's why I always say, like, yes, the freedom fighters, you know, the people that brought us to where we are, they've done a very good job bringing us here. You know, even that is a bit arguable, but so for the fact that we were blessed to get education in particular schools, you know, they've done that, but they need to trust us enough to ensure that we exploit that. You know, we are educated people. Put us in those positions where we can take it forward, because at the end of the day, they will also win. When they are close to their deathbed, they'll be like, yo, you know what we fought for, this is what we see. And it always, for me, it always goes back to legacy. That's my keyword for, I feel like, a whole lifetime. Like, what are you gonna leave behind? So that's my thing. Yeah. Look at the youth.
That's where you have to ask the question of, what did you fight for? When you wanted freedom, what did it look like? And are we not the kids that made up that picture, that vision that you had of this new South Africa? You really have to ask yourself that, because it's like that parent that sends you to a private school to learn English and then doesn't want you to speak that English when you're at home. And it's like, but you sent me there to learn it. You paid all that money for me to learn it. now you don't want me to utilize it, then you'd rather leave.
Exactly.
And
go to a place where you can
go to where you can utilize this education and this knowledge and experience. Otherwise, it's just, you can get depressed.
And it is depressing. I mean, for me, and I feel like most volunteers can relate. Like, because we always have this thing when we come back from Germany, we spend like a month at home just to get back to the culture shock, because we feel that okay, everything is slow. Like when you come from a first world country, like if you want to go somewhere, you can just go.
And the shops are closed in South Africa. You can't.
It's crazy. And if you want to, like, public transport, it is relatively cheap and it's reliable. The fact that if you want to take a bus, you just simply wait at the bus station. There's like a bus coming every 3 minutes. So if you miss one, it's okay. This one is guaranteed to come. Whereas here, you take a taxi, hey, it's okay. Sometimes you have to wait in a long queue. You have to put your hand up like this. So you can't really properly manage your time because the infrastructure isn't in the right place. So then you get frustrated at the infrastructure here. You're like, okay. But then you remember that, okay, you're in South Africa. And then you ask yourself, like, how do you ensure that it's like Germany in that sense? What positions do you need to be in? Are those positions going to allow you? Are those people going to allow you to make those changes? Do they want those changes to be like that? If not, keep being frustrated, And yeah, we all can relate when we come back from Germany that is the major issue. But at the end of the day, they're not adopting us or accepting us so that they can change the way things are. I mean, the small thing from a transport perspective, there's a lot of things that I feel like we are lacking, that can be improved, and we have the capabilities, but they're not putting us into those positions.
It's the long route. I remember someone else once advised me when I was complaining about the exact same things, and like about respecting property as well, not vandalizing. When they try to uplift a poor community and they do a nice bus stop, and then within a month that bus stop is wrecked, right? So it's how do people actually get to respect the space? They've tried to use the arts, as someone coming from the arts, they've tried to do that, but it needs to all be collective initiatives linking also in the education system. Now when you touch the education system, then it's we need to train our teachers better. In order to teach our teachers better, we need to become better people ourselves and better leaders ourselves, so that we have something to teach for the teachers to pass on to their students, right? And that's too much. That's almost too much to ask for our leaders.
It's a lot, man. And there's a lot of frustration. We can go on and on and on, but it would be interesting to have a panel discussion just to have different views, because we all have blind spots. When I speak, there might be things that I'm missing. I want to be corrected. I want to have those robust conversations, because I feel the more frank conversation that we have from people who have nothing to lose, the more people will realize that actually Umjit is right. He's very harsh with some of his words, but he has a point. What can we do about it? And then eventually, who knows, maybe there might be a secret Illuminati trying to plan who we want to be in position in the next 5 to 10 years, and to ensure that the next president is probably bilingual or trilingual or whatever linguistics they have. They business minded. They also care about the social side. They care about global warming. Who are those people? And give them a team, because at the end of the day, that person will be the face, but he has the right team with the right intentions, not because they want access to economic.
Not because they were arrested together during apartheid.
Hey, that just needs to go, bro. That's done. That's done. I'm just old people have eaten enough. Let's make some real change. Let's put the youngins in. Let's put the young ones in, man. And there's a lot. I get excited when I read on newspapers or magazines young people doing spectacular things, and it makes you wonder that okay, if you were to give a person more resources, what would they do? Because they've done it with what they have, If you were to give them a particular budget or particular people, give them the right people and watch him or watch her and just see what's okay. This person is moving this way. Let's give her more, or let's give her more. Then you get to see that, okay, these young people, we're moving. We are moving, and we're in a position where we don't have to fight the fight that the OGs fought. They fought it for us. Let us, let's take the baton forward and just see what other opportunities they have, because there's things that they don't see that we see, because we have a different lingo, we have a different culture, there's no struggle behind us. You know, we have energy for starters, and we've been exposed to things, so we just need to be in those positions so we can expose others. Please.
Please.
Expose others.
Bliss is pleading, please.
Like, you need to expose as many people as possible for them to see what potential South Africa really has and what potential our communities have.
Go.
I just want to speak about the privilege of starting small. For me, at a personal capacity, with the relationship with the Royal Podcast Express, seeing what I've seen with the little resources that is there to her disposal, the lady behind it. The amazing thing about starting small is that you get to really see how you maximize what you have, so that when you do have a lot, you know how to maximize it to its full capacity. Because one of the things you notice is that when a person gets funded a whole lot of stuff, they might not really know how much they can do. But if you just have the smallest thing, it doesn't have to be a camera, just a phone, and you realize that, okay, this phone has a lot of features. This is what I can do with what I have. Then by the time you get a camera, you will know it's okay. From what I've learned from my phone, this is what the phone can give me. What can the camera give me to ensure that I get to overdo with the little that we have? You know, and I would want to inspire people to, when they start, don't be frustrated by starting small, because while you're starting small, you are learning what can be done with the little that you have, so that by the time you do get a lot, you do extra, you go extra, because starting small is definitely a learning curve. It is definitely a classroom, because there's only so much you can do. And I feel like it's a very good challenge when you have little, because it pushes you. It pushes you to get a lot, as much as you can. And I remember in business school, there was this thing called bird in hand theory, where it basically says you work with what you have. Like, if life gives you lemon, make lemonade. So you have the lemons, squeeze out as much as you can from that lemonade, so that when you have a whole lemon farm, you know exactly how much you can export. You know, those who are in the agricultural field. So don't be frustrated by starting small. The main thing is to just start with whatever you have. I mean, for me, with the stuff that I use, this book right here, this book started off with just a laptop and electricity. And then this is what it has come to. And it has taken a long time. And that is the beauty of starting small and having patience. And the reason why I say that is because right now, as much as I'm frustrated with the way things are in the country, start small and have patience, because in 10, 15 years down the line, just because you started now, you will have the greatest rewards many years down the line, because of the fact that you started and you started small. It gives you time to assess everything, because when you have everything, you kind of get overwhelmed and you do not really know what to do when. But if you have limited budget, limited resources, Bob is your uncle. So start small. Just do it like Nike do.
Just do it.
Just do it.
No, that's true. It's all needed. I value people that also watch from afar, that you'll ask them for help and they don't help you. That gives you the urge to prove them wrong, that you are worth watching, worth actually working with. But then also you find out later, some of them, they were only doing that on purpose because they wanted to see what you're capable to do on your own, suffering through the hard times. And then only when you get to a certain level, then it's like, okay, come and sit at the table. Let's talk now. Like, we've seen you pushing, now let's talk.
And that's what mentors do, eh? Like, mentors will just leave you in the dust, but they'll still see you, they'll still watch, and they want to see the endurance that you have. Because, I mean, mentors, they don't want their time wasted.
True.
So they would want to see you get beaten up so that when they do come through, they know that okay, you've sweat, you've put in blood, you've put in tears, so you know the worth of having a mentor. You know, you want it just like you want to breathe, because you've done the time. You really need to do the time, and then people will start noticing. And that is what I also say, like, yeah, definitely start small. Get beaten up. Trust me, starting small, it's a beat down. Like, it's a brawl. It's a huge marathon. It's the Iron Challenge. You know, the Iron Man Challenge is what it is. But you notice the people that do that challenge, when they make it to the finish line, they're like, ooh, I'm here. And that's basically what all this is about. So if you're young, you're passionate, you're creative, you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is that you're doing, start small. And you will see that when you do get what you get, you will get even more than what you get.